Hello, viewers at home. Welcome to another exciting moment with us on this program, Women's World. And I want to say Happy New Year to our viewers out there. We are really grateful for seeing this new year. Today, we want to look at home management. Since we are in a new year, we want to look at how we can manage our home to have a good home setting. And with me in the studio is a wonderful woman that will be telling us more about how we can manage our home. So I'm having Dr. Adebusola Okedele in the studio that will be telling us more on how we can manage our home. You're welcome to this program, man.
Thank you very much.
So now we're looking at home management. Now, how can we manage our home in this new year? How can we have a good home setting, a home that we know that, even if we are not having all the billions or millions of naira, that we can still be happy living in that home?
All right, thank you very much. Let me say prosperous new year to our viewers at home. And I'm talking about home management. Home management is something that is very, very important. There's this saying that when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So it's important for us to put some things in place for us, for ourselves in our homes, so that things can go on fine. So the importance of home management cannot be overemphasized. So back to your question as to some things that we need to do. It's important for us to plan our homes in terms of almost in fact all areas of our homes, in terms of our finances, talking about budgets, and
We're going to take it one after
the other. Yes.
So now, in terms of that financing, let's look at that. How can we manage our own financially that will not run into debt? Especially this is January, and a lot of us would have spent so much during the festive period.
Yeah. So well, basically for me, my opinion, what I think is that you know what you have in terms of finances. So at this moment, it's important to like plan within your means, such that you don't have to live outside your means, outside your financial means. And by implication, what this means is that you look at it, okay, this is how much I have, this is my income, this is how much I have at hand. So based on what you have, you plan, you ensure that it's not a time that you go out. That's even something to the extreme, like you go out, you didn't plan that you're going to the market to buy maybe food stuff, then you see a lovely dress, and then you're like, wow, let me buy this dress. Definitely you're working out of your budget, like that. So it's going to eat up into your family finances for other things. So basically you have to like learn to live within your means. And not just that, you have a list of the things that you need. You can't imagine now that you have maybe like for example, what I do is that I have a list of things that I need to buy per time. Maybe for example, number one thing on my list is maybe rice now, and maybe like on my list number 25 thing is maybe a broom for sweeping. I might still have a broom, for some I might still have mop sticks, but the rice is definitely more important. So you like look at your scale of preference, and then so you allocate your resources based on the finances you have and all of that.
Okay, now with work simplicity, women because it's women's program, and we know women are multitasking. They are having a lot to do at the same time. How can we simplify our work?
Well, basically what I do is that I try as much as possible to do what I can within a particular period of in time. Initially when I got married, when you are newly married, you don't have kids, most of the time things just you put something here, you meet it here and all that. So I think I had a kind of busier work schedule in the house in terms of keeping the home when the kids were born and they were growing up. It wasn't so easy. So at that time I knew that I needed a help. So I got a helping hand at home to help make things easy for me and all that, coupled with the fact that I also work full time, so it wasn't easy at that time managing the home and all of that, my work and all. So I had to get a help and all that. But presently my kids are grown, so I don't have an external help, but now they can do
things on
their own, so it makes everything easy. And to simplify work at home, each of them has the tasks that they do every day. There's one that is able to cook, there's one that sweeps, there's one that fills the bottles,
you're free and all now.
That. Well, not totally, but at least it's still better than it was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Okay, so now we looking at the kitchen setting. If you want to talk about a woman, first look at the kitchen and all that. So what are those major things that we need to put in place in our kitchen not really having expensive things, but having those little things in place that will not start looking for matches or knife outside from our neighbors.
All right. So for me, I think something the most important thing that has to be in the kitchen is the equipment that you need to cook. Could be a gas cooker or a stove or whatever it is you can afford, because without that you can't cook anything. So when you have that, it's also important for you to have cooking utensils, pots, spoons, fryers, and all of that. And then of course you have plates,
It must
spoons
not
and
be
all that.
expensive ones
It
and all
doesn't have
that.
to be expensive, but at least something that is
Presentable.
presentable,
Okay.
something that is nice and all that.
Okay. So now we also have a lot of cockroaches and all rodents and whatever in most homes and all that. How can we chase them away, especially in our kitchen, that will not try to put those insecticides in our food and all that? How do we keep our home clean? That's the basic
Okay,
thing
one
there.
thing is at times one might not be totally able to get rid of rodents and
Yes, yes.
cockroaches and all
But
that.
at least to
But
minimize
one
them.
thing that helps is ensuring that one empties the bin in the kitchen. To a large extent, once the kitchen is clean, once the bin is emptied on a
Okay.
regular basis, the chances that
You
you
have
know
those things around.
will be reduced. Not that they won't come, they will, but of course, if you don't get anything to eat, there's no point coming there and all that. But in cases where you still have them coming in and all that, it's important to identify the holes or spaces that they come in through, block them. And of course there are a lot of what's it called now, insecticides and all these powdery stuff and all
That
that.
will
Only that
help
one
for
needs to be very very careful,
because of young
because
children
of
and all that.
children, in the whole, and so that it doesn't even get into food or get into plates and all that. One just needs to be very very careful.
Careful.
So basically that's it.
Okay, now we know women, we like things to be colorful, to be clean, to be all that and all that. And I know you very well that you like some kind of decoration and all that. So how do we have our home, our interior decoration? It must not be, it mustn't be as if we are calling somebody to do it for us and all that, but to put some little flowers and all that in our home, even if you have one sitting one seater and whatever. How do we manage it so that our home will look presentable for people to come in when they come in, or even we ourselves when we enter our home, we feel comfortable and happy?
Yeah, one thing I always say is that the home, it's most of the time we leave our homes to work and all that, so it's important for the home to be in good shape. And no, having said that, does not necessarily have to be that mean that one has to break the banks to make one's home presentable. But one thing I have in mind, or that I tell people when we discuss, is that your home, try as much as possible to put good settees, like that. Once you have a good television, then buy good curtains, um, paintings on the wall, maybe what's it called, wallpaper, or you just want to put paints and all that. Just try as much as possible. It doesn't have to be something too
Extravagant. Okay.
expensive or extravagant, but something, it could be something simple and nice. It doesn't have to be something so expensive that you have to go and break the banks. But
Okay.
something, look at the color combination, something that suits you, something that you feel okay, fine, when I get back home it looks like, oh
I'm
yeah,
home.
I'm home.
So now, in the aspect of like balancing our diets, especially for the young children, how do we manage to cook balanced diet? Because these days we know that the economy is not really friendly. So how do we go about having some kind of food that we know that, oh, this is balanced diet? We know everybody will be healthy eating this food, not all the time falling sick and going to the
Yeah.
hospital and all that.
And for children, it's important. Proteins are very important. So I'll say, at times it's disturbing to find out that you see that parents oftentimes give their children, take money, go and buy biscuits, go and buy this, go and buy that. It's important for us as women, to be able to like um um ensure that our children get the best. So I always say that give your children things like eggs. There's something about eggs, it's proteinous. Things like beans, like momoy, like akara. There are things that that have high nutritional value. And then also fruits.
Okay.
It's important to give children fruits. I'll say that it's better to give your child
An
fruits,
apple or
an
something
apple,
than
banana,
biscuit or
pineapple than biscuit and all these
okay.
other things that parents always like tell their children to
To
to go
buy.
get and all
Okay.
that. So, and then another thing again we can do, and of course I know that there are some children that are fussy eaters and all that. You could make things, colorful for them, like dice up the bananas. Kids like things like that. The apples, you could dice it up, like that. You could use very beautiful
Yeah,
colorful
put
plates,
like
you
even
know
watermelon and together. Watermelon is
exactly
colorful
colorful,
and others.
like that. So when a kid sees that, it gets them fascinated, like what is this, and then so you don't necessarily have to break the banks to ensure that your family feeds well,
Okay.
especially your kids.
With time management, how do we really provide like time management? How do we manage our time? Sometimes we go to work, we'll come back home to clean the house and all that. Though you said something like that before, that you had help when the children were much younger. But now, how do we really manage our time for those people that doesn't really have helps and all that? And you have to go home to after work. You have to go and cook. You have to clean the house. You have to do this. You have to do that and all that. So how do you really manage your
Yeah, you
time
have
so that
to.
you not break down yourself?
Yeah, you have to have a to-do list, which is important, most important things on the top of the list. And then so you ensure that, okay, this is what I want to do today. You don't have to do all the work in your house
But
in one
everything
day.
is important because you have to sweep every
Yeah,
day.
but there
You
are
have
some
to
things
cook
that are
every
more
day.
important than others. For
Okay.
example, saying washing of clothes. You could still leave that till weekend. It's
Okay.
important to wash clothes, but then you don't necessarily have to wash
Wash
clothes
every
every day.
time.
So there's a
Okay.
way that you can actually plan yourself. Like, okay, on Monday, what I'm going to do is that, or maybe weekends, I'm going to ensure that I cook the soup and stews that we're going to use for the next week. Maybe Saturday is for shopping, like that. Maybe Saturday is also for washing clothes, or maybe I'm going to get someone that will come home to come and wash the clothes for me during the weekend,
Okay.
and all that. So it's important to, like, yeah, you look at your work, schedule. You look at how your day go runs. So it is based on that you will plan what you're going to do. You know when you're going to be free. And one thing I also like believe in is that you want to make your home and manage your home well does not necessarily mean that you have to do everything on your to-do list so you don't crash.
Yeah,
You should know when to, like, okay,
I
at
want
this
to
point
rest.
I have to rest,
Even when you
because
force yourself, the body will tell.
exactly, health is wealth too and all that. So rest is also in fact, rest is also part of home management. You also need to, like, rest, because if you don't rest well, you won't be able to give your best to your home and all that. So it's important for you to identify what your day looks like when you'll be free and all that, then to know what will fit in, on your to-do list at that time. You can just, start getting those things out, maybe two or something you want to do in the week. Okay, Monday I'll do this one, I'll go shopping, and I will get the groceries. Okay, Tuesday I'm washing. Okay, Wednesday I'm taking the clothes to dry cleaners or something. Thursday, okay, I'm going to ensure that I get the cobwebs off, and things like that. So it's important to, like, plan based on your schedule, so
Okay.
that things don't get overwhelming.
Okay. Now we have like sometimes we have people that comes in like external family. Let me say extended family members, like our mother-in-laws, our brother-in-laws, and all that. Sometimes these people might come in and the home setting might change. Something might just happen, or the person might not really be welcoming and all that. So how do we manage these people, because they are still part of home, our home, or let me say they are part of our home management. We should manage them too. They are people who can
Yeah.
manage people. So how do we manage these people with different attitude? Even we ourselves, we have our own attitude. Talk less of people coming. They might not really be the person that we really like, but they have to be around us. So how do we manage them?
Oh, well, one of the virtues that will help everyone, irrespective of gender, male or female, is to be accommodating. For example, now, if you said that because someone is somehow, then you wouldn't want to welcome them in your home. At times there are some family members that you can't do away with. So it's important to just learn to be accommodating, to be patient. Just tell yourself, what if this person works in my office? Am I going to say I'm going to resign because of this
Okay.
person? So once you have that at the back of your mind, it will help. The second, you know that they're only going to be there for
A
a
why?
while, not forever. Then another thing again is that you can actually, there's a way that, for example, when my mother-in-law comes, in fact, I always want her to come, because then I know that, yes, I'm not going to stress. She's going to cook this, cook that, and all that. So some persons could be lucky that could have people
Such
come into their
mother-in-laws.
homes, and then that could help them. But even if such people come into your home and they are not willing to help, just tell yourself it's just for
A
some
while.
time, just for a while, and then just keep doing your
Okay,
bit.
I know you are interested in girls and all that, and when we have these girls in our home, young children growing up, and you have a male visitor and all that. How do you manage it with the young girls in the house and the person? Even you don't, it's even the person that is even close to one. Sometimes that really does some things that are not supposed to be done. So how do we care for our children, and so that they will not fall prey into the hands of the
Yeah,
wrong people?
that's why it's important. First, the home is a person's home should not just be somewhere that will be open to just every time they can
Everybody,
harry.
okay.
So having said that, you know the kind of people you bring or you allow into your home. Now, just like you said, at times one will just be shocked that it's even actually, close persons that abuse girls and all that. But before they even come up, it's important for parents,
To educate
to
their
talk,
children, I guess.
exactly, educate their children about certain things. If anybody touches you in this place or in this part, let me know. Let your children be free to tell you anything. Be close to your children, so that if peradventure something like that is coming up, even if they don't speak up, because you are close to them, you already notice. Because a child that is being abused, no matter what, you will notice some things. The child might just get withdrawn. You notice some changes in that child. So once you are close to your children and you notice, even if the child is not forthcoming to tell you, you'll have noticed. And that is why it is important that even before anything happens, as the children are growing up, begin to enlighten them, begin to educate them on some things. It is not proper for someone to touch your breasts. It's not proper for someone to touch your private parts. It's not proper for someone to do this and that, with you and all that. So it definitely will help.
Okay, definitely will help. So now, with the knowledge of all this, how do we handle neighbors also? We have neighbors around us. We have people that lives around us. We can't just shun our neighbors.
Sure.
Some people can just be, I don't greet my neighbor, or just it's good morning that joins us together. So how do we live with our neighbor and have
It
a peaceful
actually
environment?
depends on individuals. Do you know that where I live, I have two neighbors? Not that I have very good, interactions with my neighbors, but my kids know that they don't go visiting neighbors. You know, somehow I don't know. Not that I said it, but because they never saw
You
my
doing
husband
it.
and I doing that, they don't, go visiting neighbors. At times, once in a while, neighbors' kids come visiting. Not even every day. So it's kind of so. My point is that it actually depends on what you want. What you want is what you live by. If you don't want your kids, you don't necessarily have to visit someone to be what do you call it now, that someone is your neighbor doesn't mean that you have to keep going to visit the person
make them
every
closer
time and
or
all that. You could see yourself in the parking lot. Good morning sir, good morning ma'am, how are you doing? If there's something that you guys need to discuss, okay, you could meet out or maybe make phone calls and all that. So it's not until you visit, and that doesn't mean that you're not maintaining good relations with your neighbors, but you should know when to draw the lines.
Okay.
Because there's also something again that too much familiarity breeds contempt and all that. So
Okay, now we are in a new year, and sometimes we the school fees and all that. Schools, we want to register our children into schools and all that. Oh, my neighbor's children are going to so school. I want my children to be this in that school, and we know we can't afford it and all that. So how do we give our children the best educationally, and also not being having like an inferiority complex among our neighbors and all that?
yeah, good enough. There are so many schools around, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive school. There are good schools. You could just go around and see anyone that fits your expectations, and of course what you have, I mean, in terms of money and all
Yeah.
that. They put your kids in such schools. But at times, of course, I'm aware that there are some parents, because their friends are going to a particular school, they feel that, oh, this school speaks of class, so I have to take my kids to this school so I can belong. It's like living within your means, and if care is
Or
not
living
taking,
outside.
I
your
mean,
means.
outside your means, and if care is not taking, you just find out that such a child will just be sent home almost every time. You can't afford to pay the fees, you can't, like that. It's also eventually going to be an embarrassment,
Even to the kids.
even to the kids. So there are so many good schools around wherever you live. Just look around, look at the school that fits into your budget, and put your kid into that school.
Okay.
The child will do well.
Okay. So now this is a new year. What do you think women or mothers should do this new year? How do you plan your way this new year, so that at the end of the year, because we just wrap up a year now, some people are lamenting, oh, I had this in my list, I didn't do it, I had that and I didn't do it, oh, I overspent or I overdid it. So how do we plan this new year so that we have a perfect year that, oh, everybody will smile at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's important for everyone to sit,
Even security wise too.
yes, just look at it. Okay, you know the way you've lived 2021 and the previous years. Just look at it. Okay, and what were some things that I feel that I didn't do right? Just identify them and work on them. What were the things I did well? Oh, this area I did well. Okay, what can I do to improve on it? There's actually no fast rule as to this is how to go about it. But for each person, just sit, examine, have like a reflection on the past year. Okay, what did I do right? Okay, I got this right. Oh, I'm happy at myself. Oh, I'm not so happy about this. I should have done it this way. Learn from them and then improve on them. And the ones that you've done well on, kudos.
Wow.
Do better.
Okay, so now to the husband, how do we handle our husbands? And sometimes some women can nag from here to tomorrow, and some women, they just feel their husband are not forthcoming and all that, so everything is just like on them and all that. So how do we handle our husband to make them feel happy too? Not because we see people committing suicide, we see people leaving their home, divorce and everything. So how do we manage our home, especially with our husbands, that we will not shift all our attention to our children and forget our husbands?
Now, there's this saying in the scriptures that homes are built by the wisdom of women. So as women, it's important for us to pray continually, for wisdom to manage the home, the children and the husband. And so it's important for us as women to ensure that we make the home a place of peaceful, a place of peace.
Yeah.
Even when your husband is doing something you don't really like, you should look for a way and manner of letting him know. You don't necessarily have to nag a man into doing something. In fact, no one likes to be nagged.
Sorry, I heard something. Some people saying, the person was saying, we want to train our children and love our. We want to train our husband and love our children. Instead of we to train our children and love our husband. That sometimes our children drop something, say, oh, can you pick it up? And the child is not picking it up, we'll pick it up for the child. But if it's our husband, we'll start shouting and all that. So
everything still boils down to the wisdom part and all that. So you should know how to, even if there's something you'll have to discuss with him. You guys were in courtship now. I mean, before you guys decided to get married, there was a way, of all the men in the world, there was a way that you had your way with him and all that. So you definitely should be able to identify the time and period to talk to him about whatever it is you feel he's not doing well, and there's also a way there's a manner of presentation too, and of course the place of prayers too are also very important, like prayers, perseverance, and the right words and all that.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, what is your message for people this new year? Everyone, children, mothers, because this is women's program anyway, but to everyone outside there, what's your message for us, for everyone?
Okay, this 2022, I want to tell everyone, please ensure that you take good care of yourself, live within your means, be security conscious, be close to God, be a plus to the society that you find yourself in. Don't be a criminal, don't be a nuisance. Give your best shot to life and to people around you, and let me wish everyone a prosperous 2022 once again.
Thank you very much, and thank you, viewers at home, for being there. You heard it all from Dr. Adebusola Okedele. Until we come your way again on the same program next week, do have a prosperous new year.